You're watching NASCAR Tube. And now, your host, Evan Jones.
What is going on, you guys? NASCAR EJ coming to you once again from the NASCAR Tube after this 2-week break, really dreaded 2-week break. Meant to get the video out last week, coming here to record, and the next thing I know is I lost some microphone drivers on my computer, so didn't really work that well. So figured we'd just wait, and then we'll combine the two. We've done it before, so we could do it again, so no big deal. Hate that happened, but hopefully it won't ever happen again. But things like that happen sometimes. But on to racing. Well, we've had Dover and we've had Pocono the past 2 weeks that they've raced at, and we've had Jimmy Johnson as another. I mean, it's not really a surprise winner for Dover. If you saw my tweet for Dover about the apology of not being able to broadcast for the NASCAR Tube last week. If you see it, I put the tweet up here, okay? And I meant what I said. There was nothing to talk about at Dover for me, other than Jimmy Johnson wins. Carl Edwards leaves a wrench in his back glass. Didn't really hurt him, but a late pit road speed penalty got him. And then Kyle Busch wrecked. Really not a good deal for him. That was just kind of an accident. Hate it for him as he's coming back. He did redeem himself a little bit at Pocono. Think he's getting close to winning a race. Coming up here pretty quick. Martin Truex Jr. once again gets bad luck at Dover, but you see he repents himself completely at Pocono. So, wow, what a run. This guy's, the whole team, Furniture Row Racing, is on a high right now. And I don't think we've ever seen them that way. This is only the second win that team's ever had, other than Darlington in 2011 with Regan Smith. So, a lot going on there. But still, really, really glad to see them win at Pocono. But, like I said, let's stick to Dover here for a minute. Because Dover was just a race that I didn't care about at all. I tell you right now, Dover sucked. Dover was a bad race. And it was just boring. It was a boring race. And not that I'm definitely not disappointed in the results of the race. Jimmy Johnson gets his 10th win there. I mean, that's something to be very proud of. Glad that he actually he's in the record books there. So, I mean, what other than can a 6-time champion ever get? So he's fine. Feel bad for Carl Edwards. Coming after a week over a win at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Was running good. Had a good car. But just could not. Just too many both mistakes he had were on pit road. And basically what happened was when he come in pit road, when they left the wrench down, the whole sleeve that goes down in there, that goes to the nut that does the wedge or the track bar. Well, I guess it's wedge. They adjust the track bar in the car now. But the wedge that has a tube that goes down so it will hit the nut, basically, and the whole sleeve come out of that window, and the wrench got stuck. And luckily, the caution came out for him at that moment, so that worked out well for him. Coming off pit road, so he didn't have to serve a penalty for it. He just came back down pit road, but later on had more problems on pit road, as we know, and that ruined the rest of his day. Kyle Busch gets involved in a wreck. He had a really good car. He was in the top 5 most of the day, and just sadly just could not. You can't help wrecks sometimes. You just can't help wrecks, whether it's his fault or what. But that it just happens. And then we had a green-white checkered finish at the end. after A.J. Allmendinger gets involved in a wreck with Greg Biffle. And man, I hate it. I like Dover races for the most part. I think they're fun. That track is so physical where you come off that top, and it's always banked. Unless you're on pit road, that is a banked track. It's 9 degrees on the straightaways. And tell you what, go sit on a 9-degree banking and stop your car. It doesn't look like that much, but it is. Now, when you're moving, you don't feel it as bad. But when you're sitting on a 9-degree slope, it's steep. It's steep to sit on a 9-degree slope. I mean, you shift over. Let's just say that. The 24-degree banking, but the deal is with Dover is you straightaways on a hill and you go down into the corner. And that is a physical. I mean, you come out of it too. So you go in it, you got to come out of it as well. And that is a physical track. And and it's bumpy. I know it's concreted. I'm seeing that they're going to have to do something with that surface of that track. Knowing last year when Jamie McMurray had the issue with the concrete coming up out of the track a year ago. So you have issues like that on a track. It means that, okay, it's about time for a repave. And kind of like Kentucky, and I hate to say that, but I like Kentucky right now just the way it is. I don't think you should change it at all for a reason. We just like the racing. It's good, bumpy and grind. Bump and grind and go up into the wall. It's just an old, good-fashioned Saturday night race. But Dover, I think, needs to look at what they need to do and to see what they with their track surface. I know it's concrete and it's never. I've never seen it been repaved or anything. I know it used to be asphalt, but I think it's back in the early '90s was the last time. It's probably as old as I am. The surfaces are probably older, so it's concrete. And I know concrete holds up a little better sometimes, but it's just really not a good. When you start having problems with the surface, I think you need to look, because that starts interfering with the race. But Jimmy Johnson gets the win at Dover. Really not surprising. Kind of came out of nowhere in the last 100 laps, it seemed like. But really, again, like I said, I mean, it was hard to pay attention during that race, because I think you had like a 150 lap green flag run or something like that, close to it. Maybe more than that. It was boring. I mean, you almost had a whole Xfinity race under green. That's basically what it was, because the Xfinity runs 200 laps there. They run half the length as a Cup race. So it was almost like seeing a whole one of those races go under green. And that's too much under green. You got to have a break in there somehow. And it ends up, after a while, they're just lapping cars and just going back and forth. And there's no, I mean, the leader's 6 seconds ahead on a mile track. You just can't do that. It gets really boring. And I think NASCAR needs to look at something with that and get these cars to pass better. They're not passing very well. But if you want to see the highlights for Dover, you can click right up here on the logo. If you click on the FedEx 400 logo, then you'll see the highlights. We're going to try that new this time. But they come straight from NASCAR, so it comes right straight from their channel. So go ahead and click on that, and it will take you to that video. Same thing for Pocono, which we're fixing to talk about right now. Click up here, you'll see the highlights on their logo, because I just changed it, as you can see. So we'll figure it out. But going on to Pocono, Martin Truex Jr., I knew it was either him, either Martin Truex Jr. was going to win that race, or I can't think of his name now. But Martin Truex Jr. was no doubt, the last 100 laps nearly, he was going to win that race. And just pit road call won it all. And a lot of bad luck. Jimmy Johnson had bad luck. It seems like to me, every time you have a driver, or Kevin Harvick was who I was thinking about. Either him or Kevin Harvick were going to win that race. But it seemed like to me every time a driver wins, they have bad luck the next week. And look at Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards wins the 600. Excuse me. He wins the 600. He has very bad luck the next week at Dover. He gets 2 pit road problems. You go to Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson wins Dover, but blows a tire at Pocono and ruins his day. So it just seems like that to me. It just doesn't seem. I don't know what it is. If it's killing their momentum, what's killing them, or what. But really, really sad to see Jimmy lose a tire at Pocono. I know he's won there before. Junior had a good car. Carl had a good car at Pocono. Kyle Busch redeemed himself a little bit. And it seemed like to me, and I don't know, if it's me, or does it always seem qualifying at Pocono never ends up how the results of the race end up very much? Because, like, Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards qualified first and second. Kurt Busch got the pole. Carl Edwards started second. Within 5 laps, those guys were 10th. I mean, or at least Carl was. It's just not a good car at all. And I just don't know if their racing setup is as good as their qualifying setup or what. But it kind of seems like it's the opposite between them and Jimmy Johnson, where Jimmy Johnson has the problem qualifying. And a lot of Hendrick cars are having problems qualifying. It seems like, because, I mean, you're talking that Jimmy Johnson will qualify 17th, which is a terrible qualifying spot for a six-time champion and for a front runner in the sport. Period. He qualifies maybe 17th, but he wins the race. Kevin Harvick seems like they're allianced with Hendrick. Go back to Atlanta. He had to start at the back of the pack, but he led most of the laps in the race, so he was a contender for that race. And it just doesn't. It surprises me that actually is that way. But just congratulations to Martin Truex Jr. and Cole Pearn and the whole Furniture Row Racing. It seems like that team, being in Denver, it just surprises me that they can actually do that well, not being in the hub of NASCAR in Charlotte. But they actually do, and Martin Truex Jr. actually lives, him and Sherry Pollux, which is his girlfriend, that has she has the cancer, what is it? Yeah, it's women cancer. And I think it's ovary cancer or something, but she has cancer, and they both live in Colorado, up there with the team, and they really like it up there, is what we understand. So all power to them. If they want to live up there, that's fine. But I'm just surprised by how well they actually do, not being in Charlotte. And they are allianced with Richard Childress Racing, which helps. But at the same time, they're not there. And it's really hard, I'm sure, to get the resources that you need over in Denver. Because you think about it, there's no race teams for NASCAR in hundreds and hundreds of miles from Denver at all. Not any that are big, per se, but I mean, everything else is, they're east of the Appalachians. So it's just amazing by how in the world they can do that and not have any trouble. But they're proving themselves, and I think Cole Pearn is a crew chief and a half, because him and Martin Truex Jr. they're like that, and they know exactly what they're doing. But going on to Michigan next week, thought about the pick that I was going to pick to win this week, and I think I'm going to have to go with a name that is a little bit unfamiliar, that you're not going to really think about. But he hadn't been to victory lane since 2011 at Indianapolis. Paul Menard. And the reason I say Paul Menard is he ran there really well last year. He also had he also won the, at the time, nationwide, but he won the Xfinity race there last year at this time. And I think that, and he had a good Cup finish as well. But Richard Childress Racing has some horsepower right now. And I think that that's going to be on the plus side for him. And that's why I'm going to pick Paul Menard to win the race this weekend in Michigan. But anyway, guys, share this video if you liked it. Please share the video. I'm trying to grow this page. If you look down in the description, I did not write, I did not put the Facebook page on the screen here. You see, you still have the Twitter, the Twitter down in the corners, but you do not see the Facebook link in the video. But if you look down in the description of this video, you will see the Facebook link. If you search facebook.com/NASCARTube, I think I'm going to try to get more on Facebook and try to get with it. I just found out that you can really be more interactive on Facebook than you can on Twitter. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not, and I've expressed this many times, I do not want to get off Twitter for a reason, and because the NASCAR community on Twitter is huge. But if you want to see me on Twitter, you're more likely to tweet me at NASCAREJ, not at NASCARTube. If you do NASCARTube, then you're tweeting to the actual YouTube channel or page or whatever you want to call it. So, best way, if you want to talk directly to me, contact me at NASCAREJ. And it's just because I look at it more and I'm more interactive on it than I am on the NASCAR tube. If you notice, I don't tweet a lot. I really don't. I just check up every now and then. I get tweets from people, but I really don't interact much at all. I'll throw a tweet out there occasionally, maybe 1 or 2 a week, but that's all I really do. But I'm going to try to tweet a little more. But if you would like to talk to me, ask me any questions, I will respond. I will find a way to respond. If you have any questions, comment down in the video here, and I'll respond there as well. I get the notifications, so I'll know I can answer any questions that you want. You want to know my opinion about anything, you know it's here. I've got it. That's what the channel's here for as well. So, like this video, share this video, broadcast, whatever you want to call it, and also share the page on Facebook. If you have a Facebook page, definitely go like NASCAR Tube. And I think we're up to close to 25 likes right now, so we're going real well. 25, woohoo! You know, but not like Twitter, but you know. Anyway, but go check that out and share the share the page. You can say, hey, y'all share it to your NASCAR buddies. Say, hey, go check out NASCAR Tube. This guy's doing his opinions on there. He really sounds like an idiot sometimes, but he's really good. You know, I don't care what you say, but but anyway, guys, really appreciate y'all coming and watching this today. And if you made it to the end, good deal. But as always, y'all have a nice day.